There we go. Okay, so sorry about that again. My connection or something was weird with my connection there. So it appears to be better now. Hey Nick, how's it going? Okay, so now that we're done with our huddle for the day, I'm going to continue working in here. I've done a bit more since... Oh my god, I got like dust or something. Oh, of course it happens like right as I go on stream. But yeah, so I did a little bit more in here. I just kind of completed the dune so it wouldn't be this big blank see-through transparent wall when I pushed it. So it's kind of just generically thrown in here. I'm gonna eventually come back to this and do something more. Oops, I didn't mean to open a second one. I wanted to just bring this up. You know, kind of play around with more. I grabbed a bunch of references of just kind of how dunes kind of take over the inside of structures and get it, you know, to feel a little bit more like that. But today what I wanted to do was, one, I still need to move this down, so I'm going to move this down, and then we're going to start kind of working out some of these other buildings and playing with those. And that'll also give me the ability to break up some of the this ground plane. Why is it not letting me stuff? There we go. Like I have been. So I've been deleting stuff so that I can move the interior pieces around separately from the exterior pieces. Although some of the stuff in the back will probably just be deleted anyways. But yeah, so I'm just going to kind of keep playing around with that. And we'll be playing again off of Goblin's images here from his concepts. So I'll be kind of playing around with these shapes. I kind of like how this door appears a little bit tapered. So the top's a little bit thinner than the base. Although this one right here also kind of feels like there's a little bit of a... almost like a slight change in angle from here down. I might play with it without that adjustment first and see how I like it, and then maybe put that in there as well. But playing around with those, maybe some of these little like slants. Not quite sure. I think this is a slanted wall. I mean, it could be sand piled up on, or this could all just be sand. But I'm reading it as kind of a wall, so I'm going to play with that. And maybe some of these structures as well. So that's the plan for today. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of start building it out. Let me duplicate this. Move this over here. I'm gonna also have to figure out how I want to handle these overhang structures. If I'm just going to edit the terrain so the terrain peels back, or if I'm just going to make it look like sand is kind of caving in from that point. So that'll be something to play around with as well. But let's play around with this first door. Oh, this is an extruded one. Do I have one in here that doesn't have any extrusions? Yes, let's do this one. Nope, that one has extrusions too. I know there are ones that didn't extrude. There we go. Alright. Oops, let's get it on the correct grid. So, come up here. I'm gonna give myself the player a little bit more room. That way, if we want to put any counters in that spot. There's a little bit of room for that. I might honestly play with cutting that area as well. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I'm building, that this part is probably going to be open to the sky as well. But just for the meantime, it will not be. So, move this over here. Oh my god, this... whatever is going on with my nose right now is annoying. Oh. Death is, or not death, dust is going to be the death of me. Dust, I almost said death is going to be the dust of me, but I guess that is fitting. There we go. Let's give ourselves a doorway here. Oh, I was taking screenshots, so all my windows are no longer the same size they were. The Twitch bot takes a while to alert, so I manually posted it. I wonder what's up with that. It does it sometimes. The stream announced bot. Oh, that one, yeah. I've noticed that sometimes, that it's a little delayed. I've definitely noticed that. But I'm not exactly sure why it would be. It's probably just like a syncing issue, or like how often the bot actually like looks for if someone went live. I suppose I should probably do these where the top part, or maybe not. We'll see how this feels. The height of this is about right. Actually, look at... there's a decent height there, but over here, yeah, there should be more height. So let's try that. I need to bring these down too. So actually, let me bring this a little bit lower. And then let's actually adjust all this stuff that we did last time. And it was because when we got in here, this just felt way too low. That's about 1 meter. About 2 meters. So let's fix these. And then we're also going to have to fix the hole down here because everything was moved. Oh shoot. Did not grab that floor. Move it with it. So yeah, this needs to get adjusted. Yes, it's fine. Oops. And that still gets at the top. Now we just need to bring the sections of wall up high enough. I want to grab the ceiling as a whole. That makes sense. Okay. And then probably also add in a couple edge loops here. So that we can play around with the roof and have the roof crack a little bit. Just a little. I don't want it to be too much because the roof is essentially what is being supported by, or supporting the stuff above it. So I don't want to get too messed up with that. Just a little bit. Okay. Let's take a look at this in person real quick. Before I move on, so that I know that the height scale is right. Because I don't want to end up with the scale just being so off and then having to go back and adjust everything later. Oops, I forgot I'm way out here. This might take a minute. For anybody who's not familiar with the project, while I'm running, I guess I could talk about it a little bit more. The game we're working on is Monsters and Minions. Or Minions, Monsters and Memories. Excuse me. And we are a small indie team working on a classic style MMO that is heavily influenced by, you know, classic late 90s, early 2000s games like EverQuest. EverQuest is our kind of our main influence, but yeah. So we have a whole bunch. You just saw me run through our newbie yard. We've got, you know, merchants and stuff like that. We're in the process of kind of beginning to redesign our city here and kind of refine our art style, which is part of the reason I was late for starting the stream today. We were discussing some things and ways we wanted to approach. Specifically, we started talking about the cliffs and stuff like that, but just texture and geometry and how they play off each other and stuff like that. Alright, So I guess I gotta go just hop down there, but I'm gonna, for anybody who's not familiar, I'll give you the tour. So I've been kind of working on some of these buildings here based off of an initial concept pass that Goblin did, but we're kind of, again, we're refining this still, in refining the lore, so we can actually like lock in on what all the stuff is going to look like. So we've just been kind of playing around with to see what of this we like, what we don't like. This part right here is specifically this area up here, and then I just kind of played, played with some shapes and stuff, and created a little tavern over there, and up here, is a little inn. Played around with some scale, so there's like a more ogre scaled structure over here, which needs to be kind of updated, and then a more gnomish one. Played with some interior spaces a bit, doors and hallways, and a little bit of set dressing ideas. Just kind of playing around with it right now. And then over here we have a crate. It's a little different than everything else, and inside it's got a kind of like a small dungeon area built into it. And if we go over here, run down, and this area is very much kind of inspired by the whole. This area, if we decide to keep this idea, would be pushed down further, so like running off of here would kill you, which it currently doesn't. But if we run up through here, across this bridge, and then you see the area that I was just working on. So kind of a long about route to get here. And then this, for anybody who wasn't watching the last screen, is going to be the under portion of the city. So we wanted to play around with like ruins on ruins and stuff like that. So one of the ideas Goblin had when he got on and just kind of did the initial quick sketches was potentially having this, passageway that's an older city that's, half buried by ruins and stuff like that, or not ruins, by sand dunes, and, the modern city's built on top of it. So a lot of these structures that I'll be playing with coming up will be, up and above, but below here in this alley will be covered by, wood planks so people could walk across it without having to deal with what's down here. But I think it can be a cool spot to play around as just like an encounter space. So, right now you can see, the sand dunes kind of overtaking stuff, which is again why I've, been looking at, how sand dunes kind of overtake structures. So, having some of them buried, having some of them where you can like get inside of them through air, entrances and stuff like that. So just kind of playing around with that today. But this looks a lot better in terms of scale, vertically. It could, I guess it could be higher. I could make this go down lower, but I kind of like it like this, at least for now. It can be adjusted later. So we're gonna pop back over to Unity. And we'll continue working. So, let me... Excuse me. Send this down. Now the thing I have to think about is this building, obviously it's 2 stories, but is this building 2 stories where the second story down here is like a basement, or is it a 2-story building that has a story of it, buried in sand? And if that's the case, that means all of these structures are essentially 2-story buildings. Which I think I'm going to kind of keep it like that. But we might not necessarily be able to go in the full two stories. And it's also potential that, like, you know, the street under here, which I'm not actually going to build, but in my mind, as you know, as I'm designing it and laying this out, I might think of like, oh, this ground plane, you know, is down here, and then the street, you know, the street kind of goes up. So then over here, it makes sense that these are 1-story buildings because the road kind of went down, and as the road went down, they decided to make it 2 stories, something like that. So this one at least is going to be on the same plane as this one, so this one should be about the same height. Now, granted, you know, I might not even be letting the player get down into this part as I play around with it. We'll see, but I am going to, at least initially, set it up that way. Okay, so let's play around with this door. So this door right now is kind of partially buried because, right here is essentially the bottom of what I've been using for human scale. So the human scale doorways have been about 7.5 meters. That's on there. Let me get these edges straight. So I'll move that right there. And we will delete that face. And we will delete this face. Actually, you know what? Probably look at it as deleted. And then did the bridge. I don't know why I did it this way. So I'm just falling back on old Maya habits. Oops, if I actually click the arrow. So now myself a little bit more detail, at least on this spot. So that I can play around with that a bit. Hi, Kitten Army. How are you doing today? Come on. This is one of the tools I use a ton in like Maya, but functionality on it is less than desirable in Pro Builder. Where you have to like fight with it. Okay, so we'll leave it at that for now. But now I have a little bit more control over the kind of center portion of this. Street or alleyway. So I'll just put these up against this. And move those off the grid. I'm just about to pour out the first whiskey of the week, so all is well. You doing well too? Yes, I'm doing well. Unfortunately, I'm not cracking open the whiskey at the moment, but beyond that, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Minus some dust allergy thing messing with me a little bit, but glad to hear you're doing well. So what I have been doing on these other walls is separating the inner portion and the outer portion of them for the most part. Obviously, there's going to be parts that like flow in and out. So I'm going to do that here. And I think if I can use this, I might just use this portion on that wall, and I'm just have to build another one right here. So let's insert an edge loop. And this allows me to have the dunes, like I can control the height of the dune on the inside and the outside of it. So I'm not like locked into whatever decision I made outside on the inside, and I'm not, you know, the inside can have more sand than the outside does, or vice versa. Shoot, hold on. I think I hit duplicate, which I did not want to do. There we go. Okay. So let's clean up this spot right there. And we'll delete that one. Pretty good. Thank you for the follow, Venthos. Appreciate it. Hope your day is going good as well. What is... Oh. I'm sitting here like, why can't I do that? And it's because I didn't put a edge going this way. So let's do that too, while we're at it. So... run this right here. And that one right there. This. And again, it's going to cause issues, so I'm going to have to snap these over here. I do want this to have a little bit in the middle, so I'm going to have to add in some extra geo right there for that, but it'll be fine. Again, I'm being very selective on where I add extra geometry to not over-model it compared to our style. Okay, that should be fine. Oh yeah, I definitely ran into dust. My hand's starting to break out in hives. Love allergies. Let's get these lined up correct. That looks good. All right. Come on, there we go. Oops, selected one too many. There we go. Alright, so now I can play around with these separately. So, you know, the question then becomes... This is a doorway, right? And it's on the second floor. So, the idea, you know, again, going back to some of Goblin's illustrations is... Some of these might have, like, balconies. So, this will have some sort of balcony on it. Kind of sticking through the sand in a bit. But, you know, I need to figure out how I want to play with these dunes. I think the character should be able to get in there. It'll be tight. It'll be tight for the capsule to get in, but we'll test it. I might have to make some adjustments either with this or to the doorway itself. Since we don't have shrink in yet and we don't have crouch in, which would, you know, give me, once those are in, I'll have more ability to play with things. I can do, you know, tiny cracks and stuff like that to walk through. But for now, I'm going to keep it at least traversable. So, you know, that's a balcony. The question is, do I want the player to be able to go downstairs in this particular structure? And also there's a structure next door, which again, I haven't decided whether the street's kind of going up. And even if the street is going up, this could be, you know, street level, and then this could be a basement thing. So these technically could be tied together somehow. So I'm just kind of, you know, playing around with some ideas as we go about with this area. Make sure those are on the grid. There we go. And then snap it to the grid again. It really likes to pop off the grid when you move it sometimes. And I'm not going to break this side off yet because I'm, in my mind, I'm playing with, do I want there to be some sort of, you know, way downstairs that I can go through and get into this other structure, or, because if I do want this plane not to be broken because I'd want the sand to go from one to the other. If I decide to do that, I can always break it off without it, but keep my options open. Alright, so let's add in another edge loop. I'm going to break the grid here just a pinch. Oops. Back on the grid, because this is not on the grid. Just kind of looking at how the sand's flowing right now. I think I want there to be one more edge loop kind of going down the center so that I can control it if need be. I think, do I want it to curve, or do I just want it to come to this kind of slant? I think I'm gonna curve it. Now I've created a non-gon here, so I need to figure out which direction I want this to go. Let's do that. Oops. And then I think what I'm going to end up doing for this part is just kind of bringing this sand up. Biggest issue I'm going to have is I just need to cut this portion eventually. Those are all about the same height. And delete these spaces that it's connected to free this. And I'm just going to kind of level it out right now. Again, this will get addressed more once I have the rest of the geo fixed for the terrain. Now the other thing I need to check is how does this look over here? Did this... Nope, I had that separated. Okay, we're good. Okay, I don't want those edges to cross over each other. Dunes real quick. Right now I'm just kind of playing around with edge flow to kind of get something that feels kind of accurate, at least for now. Oops. Net, not collapse. Okay. So, I also don't want this to necessarily be flat. I like, right now I'm keeping this on top kind of flat, but yeah, do a better job of making that flat. But I do want to play around with this a little bit. Push the center of this forward. Select what I want to. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Let's play around with this a bit more. Can't wait for a little gnomish feet to hustle over all over this place. Yeah, this will be... It'll be fun, I think, to explore some of these just like, you know, layers of ruins and stuff that we're wanting to play around with. And I can't wait to, you know, let you guys, or have, you know, play around with you guys in game. That'll be really exciting once we are able to get some people in to do some testing. So, gnomish feet. What class are you thinking? That your gnome will be? You like to play tanks or support? Cool. Yeah, I'm usually support or DPS. Mostly in DPS because I'm usually a ranger, but... Some new shapes. Oops. Probably would have helped if I had the image I'm going off of. So I'm gonna play around with this shape for the balcony. You play strikers too? Or too much? Yeah, I've always been... I don't know why. I've just always enjoyed playing rangers. Something about being a loner in the woods that speaks to me. But I do like playing support classes on top of that. I've never really been big fan of playing tanks. Because you're boring and refuse to try anything else. That's not true. I'd try other things. The one class that sticks with me is Ranger. I used to enjoy playing as a Ranger, as they usually had a tanking pet. Although nowadays I only play Rangers in MMOs where they don't have pets. Yeah, well, some games takes on Rangers that are MMOs are more pet based. Granted, I didn't get super far into high end, but Vanguard's Ranger was had a pet. How do I want to do this? I'm just going to another shape. Keep these separate, just based on the way Pro Builder kind of works. I think this way will work. But no, I definitely do play other classes. I've played Necros. I'm in EverQuest. I played a Necro to like 50, and I played a Druid, but it was one of the heroic unlocks, so I didn't play the first 85 levels or whatever. I frequently will play Shaman too. That's usually my go-to support. And in Lotro, I played as a captain, which is for anybody who's never played Lotro, it's kind of a odd combo of it's like an odd hybrid of Shaman and Pally. I think this is probably going to be too thick of a banister, so let's bring that down. And then let's grab these and half snap that. There we go. That's probably better. And I'm going to delete these as well, and I'm going to make this a little less extreme of an angle. I think that fits the illustration a little bit better. Oh, sorry, my lips are getting chapped. I need to put some stuff on there. Yeah, I'm playing in the Embers Adrift Alpha. I'm playing a woodsy type. I hunt animals and turn them into jerky. I'm a berserker who trades, whose trade is hunting and provisioner. Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, I haven't tried that one. With mage COH because reasons. Yeah. The captain was also the Call of Hero class, which was also weird. But yeah, it was probably the most tanky class I've played, although I rarely tanked on it. I actually played it more as an off healer, which was a lot of fun. For anyone who did not play that game when it came out, it was really, I really liked it when it first came out. It kind of simplified it and stuff like that over the years, but I really did enjoy that game when it was initially out. Yeah, you tanked much more often. Well, my captain was usually set up for healing, so I wasn't as good at holding aggro, but I could. I mean, I did have abilities that would let me do it if needed. Oh, excuse me. I may have to open this space up a little bit more now that I'm throwing this in here. Because let me pull this out so we can see how wide that is. So that's 2 meters space. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to move that, because that 2 meters is going to be like a really, really tight feeling balcony, which I think can be okay, but it's also like just straight in the middle of the street. Which, I mean, I guess it does reflect this, so we'll play with it like that, but I have a feeling I might push this back a meter or so I'd widen this street up a bit. And then give it a little bit more space, but we'll see how it feels. And in the image, it goes around the corner. I don't know if this one will go around the corner, because I started it. Like, here's the doorway. Also, I want to maybe break it up a bit. So let's do that. Do I want to break it in the middle, or do I want to break it on the end? Decisions. We'll break this one up in the middle. Really could have just done these as 2 separate objects. So let's just do that. Be a little less complex. Yep, sounds like my son's home. Alright, so let's figure this out.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Yeah, no, it's warmer today. It was freezing here yesterday. It was like 20 degrees, I think.
Oh.
Hey, bud.
Can I go to Mason's house?
Do you have homework?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that first.
Yeah, do your homework.
I only have 3 questions.
You only have 3? Oh, that don't take you that long.
Are you streaming?
Yep, I'm streaming.
What are you making?
I am making a balcony right here.
I'm gonna wash this today.
Yeah, looks like it needs a wash. Throw it in the wash basket. I need to do some laundry later.
Wash this one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Everyone, like the teacher's like, you want to go down to the office and get another one? I'm like, oh.
Alright. So, how do I want this broken up?
I was mad yesterday because I was playing Fallout New Vegas and I don't have very hard lock picking, so I can't do the lock pick. So I go down there, murder, turn to morphines, and then there's people that know the code, but now I need to find the jail cell key. And I looked all over that floor, and now I'm getting really mad at it. I have to find a key. I can't find the key. So I can't. And I need more. And if I have more speech, I can convince them, so I can get the code for free. No. In Vault 3, trying to get a piece.
Cool.
I'm really mad.
Yeah, I bet it is. All right. He was talking about Fallout. Yeah, he was playing that a little bit yesterday. Already? Good job. I'm going to give myself an extra volley there. And I don't know why it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but that'll work. Yeah, I haven't played Fallout 4 either. I got it for them, or I got it years ago. No, I haven't played it. I've played Fallout 3 a ton. I just have not actually played 4. I'm so bad when it comes to playing Bethesda games. It's probably my ADD, but I have only ever finished Skyrim's main story. I never. Okay, buddy. I never end up finishing the main storylines of any of those games. Because I'm always just running around like, ooh, this place looks cool. I'm gonna go explore. And I just stop following the storyline every time. So we got that. Let me play around with how buried it is as well. If I selected it, then I selected off of it. Get a little bit of variety in my sand piles. I can never finish games like that either. See something shiny in the distance and spend the next 6 hours running towards it. Yep, that's literally any Bethesda game that I've ever played. I am just really, really good at like, ooh, shiny, and I go and, you know, waste 6 hours running around in a dungeon or something like that. But for the most part, that's what I go into those games being like, I'm just gonna explore. Skyrim, I think the like just the powers you get from the dragon or the different dragons during the storyline, I think that was more or less what drove me to continue with the storyline, just to get the new abilities. But it was also a while ago since I did that playthrough. I've done a bunch of other playthroughs since then where I never finish. I've also bought Skyrim more times than I care to admit at this point. It's my first copy. This one and his older brother were at the age where they could crawl around, and my discs were on a DVD caddy, like shelf thing, and they both found the discs and decided to like bend them. So Skyrim and there was another one I can't remember. Both fell victim to the toddler learning that DVDs don't bend properly, or don't bend and flex back. You guys broke the original version of Skyrim that I had. Fallout 3? You might have broken my Fallout 3 discs too. I don't remember though. My memory used to be like photographic. I could like replay stuff, but over the last 2 years since COVID, my memory has definitely taken a hit. But yeah, things definitely start to get foggier as you get older. Strangely enough, it was the opposite for me. I quite played or enjoyed. You quite enjoyed running around like a scrub with no abilities. Like I said, there's been many playthroughs that I've done where I've never even really finished the campaign, just running around. I don't know what it was about Skyrim and the different Dragonborn abilities that you'd get that I just was like, ooh, I'd like to try another one. Got tired of Fusorda and wanted some other abilities, I guess. I don't know. But definitely enjoy their games. As buggy as they end up being. I think it's part of the charm to a degree. Maybe I want to play with like the idea that maybe this is broken off at the base. Oops, let's merge. I'm gonna go off grid for this. I like that. Alright, so let's go. Before I start expanding this, I'm going to save and actually see if this is working scale-wise. I don't want to get too into it like I did. Where am I? This place is getting rather expensive. What I did right here, where I was like, oh, that fall could kill me. And it, I was thinking I was much smaller than I was. So this needs to, again, eventually be adjusted, but because I can access here and not like worry about my character not being able to get out if I need to go do something. Well, I guess not what I wanted to open. I guess I could use GM commands and stuff to get out. I just have to remember what they are. It all filters back to the fading memory. Woohoo! It's always fun when you have collision that only goes one way. But that will be obviously fixed, so that won't be a problem. That's actually not terrible. I could actually probably go slightly larger on that. But I'll leave it at that scale for now. Maybe I do want to scale. I don't know. I'll play around with that. But can I get in here? Yes. Yes, I can. So that doorway will work, even with a little bit of sand. It is a tighter fit for the capsule. But the capsule also has a little bit more collision than the player probably will when we are actually playing. Oh, we have the actual character models in here. I don't think I'm going to play with this one going down. Maybe this one here will go down a little bit. I do kind of want to play with like one of them having like some sort of maybe like tunnel or something from one to the other. I think that could be fun. let's hop back over. And we will I'm gonna need another edge loop. Actually, let's use this one. Oops, I'm off grid. I'm going to space these out a little bit. I'm going to drop another edge loop so this has one, but I don't want to get this area like super dense. There's no reason that it needs a ton of detail right there. Actually, I'm going to merge, I think, some of these down. Don't need this one or that. Whoops. Let's merge it the right direction. Actually, no, I'm going to keep that one. I do like that one there. I also need to remember that some of these, like, I need to keep in my mind that this is sand, so this doesn't, you know, like, I'm not having to pull up because it's sitting on top of something. I can dig down into it too. So, like, this edge here potentially sag down a bit. Even if I was doing the whole, you know, there's a slanted road or something under here, that would still work. Okay. So let's get those. I want an edge loop down here. And I want oops, no, I don't want to break that off yet. Let's fix that before I delete stuff and regret it later. Or actually, hold on a second. Oop, I don't need that. I already have an edge here. Oh, hold on. I don't have a wall thickness there. That's why I can't see it. Alrighty, let's just make this work for now. We'll delete those faces. And delete right there for now. This whole area can also go away. And goodbye. There we go. Oops. In the wrong grid. There we go. Oh, good call. It YouTube was yelling at me because it thought I wasn't still watching. Yeah, if you guys ever notice that sometimes I get so into doing work, I just don't pay attention to the fact that there's no music. I know that's happened a couple times. Feel free to just be like, hey, need something in the background. Again, these will get adjusted to line up better. But I need to fix some stuff before I can do that. In a way that will make sense for how I want to do it. Oh, the edge flow from that is getting a little wonky. Let's fix these edges because I know they're going to be over here. Oh, that's why. I'm like, why does it look like it's off? Because it was. I would use the side cameras and stuff, but sometimes when you have like so much stuff in a zone like this, it makes it really difficult to tell what's going on because there's just so much crisscrossing geo. I think this wall is also off-grid. There we go. Remove that. Oh, I've got a non-gun here. Let's fix that. Doesn't even touch anything, right? Yeah, okay, we're good. Is the one next to it a non-gun? No. Let's get this one running along the wall like I want it. Hey Goblin, how's it going? I'm gonna move that one here, and I'm gonna move this edge to be that edge. Everybody's favorite Goblin, please don't stab me. Sean does say our goblins, well, at least in game, are going to be pretty stabby. Battle music, let's go. This isn't even just the battle music, this is the boss battle music. Currently fighting the Sand Dune boss. Have to stab somebody. I feel like stabbing a deep dwarf would be harmful to the blade that does the stabbing. I don't know why my mind just went there, but it did. Oh my god. This tool is always gonna fight me. And of course, it's one of the ones I use all the time in Maya. Oh my god, stop doing that. Are they punchy goblins? I made a female goblin in Turtle WoW, and they sound like they have a male goblin voice for attacking and getting hit. I haven't made any of the Horde characters. I just made a... I made a High Elf when I thought you guys all went High Elf, and I was like, oh, well, it'd be easier if I just re-roll as a High Elf. So I do have one. And then I think I made a human. And I didn't get around to making any other characters, but I wanted to make a goblin for sure. And an undead. But like I said, I stopped playing because I was about to quickly blow by everybody, even though I was only played maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. So we definitely have to all meet up and do a dungeon or something like that at some point. It's so weird, like, I remember so much about WoW, and I don't at the exact same time. I'm like, oh, I remember something to do with this. Oh, okay, it's over here. Where in, like, EverQuest, I can, like... Granted, I played EverQuest way more than I played WoW. Like, EQ is, like, muscle memory to me, for the most part. Names and stuff, that's where I sometimes need refreshers. Like, I couldn't think of Trakanon's teeth the other day. I think it was you, Zukin, who helped me with that. But yeah, there's definitely some things my mind is like, what? Or, like, I could probably cite off the strategies to all the Planes of Power raids, but remembering, like, the percentages that, like, you know, like, Terrasthoul spawns the butterflies and the... Why isn't that connecting? And the gargoyles and stuff like that. I definitely don't remember that off the top of my head anymore. Why? Okay, I'm not sure why I decided to do that, but that would explain why it wasn't working. Did it do that over here? No. Did it just do it again? Or did it do it over here? I do not know why it decided to just make a hole there, but it did. I did not tell it. Oops. I did not tell it to do that. The joys of 3D modeling. Goblin Monk sounds very odd / wrong in my head. I haven't looked into it, but it might work. The Monk at Goblin, I mean, hard to say. Maybe with the monk look we have, but hard to say. It could. I don't know. I definitely do think, like, my mind definitely goes to, you know, stabby roguelike when I'm thinking goblins, but you never know for sure. It's one of those things you can play around with. With that said, I don't know if there's any plans on goblins being monks or not. If I had to bet, I would say no, but that is not my decision to make. Any class joking around with on this stream is subject to change and does not reflect the opinion of whatever the whole legal jumble would be for that. You would totally try out a Goblin Monk? I don't know, I definitely want to make a Goblin something. I haven't decided what yet. Again, my initial instinct is Goblin Rogue, but then I kind of also want to do a Halfling Rogue, so we'll have to see. Not much arm reach on them. Goblin Rogue. There's some things I want to say, but I don't know if I can say them on stream, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. I don't know if some of the things have been said, so. What is it then? But Goblin Rogue. I have to have a Goblin Rogue. But first, Deep Gnome. I don't know what they can be yet, but something. Yeah, no, definitely I will be doing a Deep Gnome something as well. I don't know, I'm thinking Necro for Deep Gnome, but again, it's one of those things I'll know more when I get around to actually making everything. I feel like, just based off of your race concepts, Goblin, I feel like I'm going to be making more alts in this game than I did in EverQuest. I mean, there's been games where I've made a bunch of alts, like in Lotro I had 3 characters at max level at one point, and another one that was close. I leveled all of the Imperial, or the Sith Empire classes to level cap when it was 50 in SWTOR. It just depends on the style of game for me, whether I'm making alts or not, I guess. EQ, I always felt like I was losing time that I could be investing in getting paid as more AAs, or grinding out a new piece of, trying to get a new piece of gear that was groupable, so that I'd be better on raids and stuff like that. That was one thing I loved about EverQuest, was just the way the itemization was, and how long it took to get raid geared. I never got my character full maxed out in like an expansion's worth of gear. It was always like a couple expansions of gear, and I wasn't super high end, although I did tag along with like the second best guild on the server occasionally, and I would occasionally get like rots from them, but the groupable content for me was always, there was always something I could get there, but I was getting better stuff on raids. That was one of my favorite aspects of that. You think that's the variance in race speaking? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's just, they all have such a different flavor, and with the way that we're doing, different cities have, will have a different flavor, and it's, not, we're all starting in the exact same starting zone, or like technically New World, you didn't have to start in the same starting area. It was completely random, but really in the end, the only difference in that was that you were started in a different area. There wasn't, the content wasn't really all that different between the two, as far as I could tell. You heading over to Mason's? Okay. Have fun. Be safe. Are you riding your bike, or you gonna? Oh, you can ride Braden's. Remember, Braden's outgrown his bike. You can ride his bike if you want to. That would not be good. Shoes are definitely a
I just realized you said
a good thing to have.
I don't have shoes.
Yeah, I liked it from one angle. I did not like it from this angle. It was way too steep.
Yeah.
What's up, bud?
Did I go down?
You guys can go to. I don't care if you go to Kensington. Just let me know if you are going there. Text me. Bring your if you're riding Braden's bike, put your lights on it. Makes items interesting again, hard to get. Yeah, I know, definitely. I know this has been mentioned many a times by different people. Games, for the most part, I stopped caring about gear just because I know it doesn't matter. I don't like necessarily the gear treadmill feel of a lot of modern games. I like it when I get something in a raid. I know that unless I get I get lucky and something better drops, and I can get it for less DKP, or not a huge DKP investment. I'm not necessarily worried about getting best in slot everything. There might be like one big thing, like for a ranger, obviously the bow, like a bow. I always would, save up for a bow and drop a ton of money on, or not money, but DKP on bows. But granted, it was usually because all the other rangers really wanted it too. So it was always a bidding war, but I miss knowing what the items were called. Yeah, that too. Where things were relevant long enough that they kind of developed a mystique around them about, the name. You knew what it was. Again, back to the whole, like, me loving group content lagging behind raid content a couple expansions. You know, I always felt like, even when I wasn't able to devote the time to raid, I always felt like I could improve. I could become, you know, OP if I had the time to put it in. Or, you know, knowing that over the years, eventually, you know, if I was in a casual or like a family guild, that content would become accessible through leveling or whatever. That's definitely something I miss in games, most modern games. The only reason I went for gear in WoW was one, PvP, because it's like a weak grind, or the look. That's about it. I really enjoyed building characters and building up my character. I loved EverQuest specifically just because there was so many different raid content. Like, the raid content was varied enough that I had a ton of options. So it wasn't necessarily min-maxing where I was going for best in slot and everything. It was just kind of like a fun. I found it really fun to kind of like pick and choose, like, where. All right, I need a haste item. What haste item do I want? Okay, I've got a good haste item. So now I need an item with, you know, whatever focus effect. And it was like picking and choosing which ones I wanted. And you know, spreading DKP or merit or whatever guild I was in at the time. To kind of find a balance and kind of do a build custom that way. And again, also, you know, knowing the names of the items, especially like the class specific items. Like, I've got a level 60 character in New World, and I couldn't tell you a single piece of gear that he's wearing. And he's wearing some. Granted, I have not ground out the whole watermark and expertise thing. I just bought stuff off the auction house. I've got stuff that's like 580 gear score, which granted now I don't think I even get the full gear score on, but I honestly could not tell you a single piece of item, a single name of any gear that character has worn from level 1 to 60. But I could go back and tell you, you know, they just had a true shot longbow and a Velium Swiftblade, and an ornate green broadsword, and you know, Earthcaller, and Swiftwind, and Bow of the Tempest. Oh my god, what the heck was the Quarm hammer called? Time Weaver's hammer, I think. But yeah, I can like rattle off the, you know, those things, and then, you know, a lot of those had, you know, very specific graphics to them that were fairly identifiable. Getting an upgrade and having it last a long time, yeah, where it feels like when you spend DKP, you're actually like getting value out of it, and it's not like, oh, everything's gone. I like having a kind of best in slot goal, but but it never being really attainable. So you choosing the best combo of what you have. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Well, you know, you can't, and not necessarily not attainable, but like not obtainable in every slot, in a timely manner that makes sense. Maybe you can get it, but, you know, at that point there's other new stuff out that is slightly better. But then again, you still have stuff at the class level, or not the class level, with the group level that you can still go and get. Whether it's just for clickies or what, there's always kind of something to kind of do. I really do miss that in games. Remember us sitting on Alakazam looking at gear and building out dream gear build? Oh yeah, I totally did that. That was me in study hall during high school. The second I was done with stuff, I was on the computer either watching videos of skateboarders and going frame by frame to try to watch how they did the tricks, because that was back in the day when there weren't like, you know, tons of trick tip videos out on YouTube. I don't even think YouTube was a thing at that time. So what's up, buddy? So yeah, it was always either researching gear and drops and raid encounters in EverQuest, or watching and trying to learn skateboarding moves. I was wearing that cloth from the hole for most of my life in P99. Same. Alakazam. Is that the cloth armor from the hole? Is that the netted cloth? Am I remembering that correctly? Alakazam and Magello. Yeah, no. Does Magello still exist? Not the netted? Which one was out of the hole? Was it the loam? Or no, loam encrusted was... Oh, that is it? Okay, I knew it. See? That, like, it's still recognizable enough that, like, years and years later, and I wasn't even a cloth class, I could pull the name out. And again, in New World, I couldn't tell you a single thing that I'm wearing. I couldn't tell you a single thing that my Marauder and Swotor, which was my main character that I raided with, I couldn't tell you a single piece of gear that he had. And I was always like max gear in that game for at least the initial bit that I played. I could tell you some of the things from Lord of the Rings that my captain wore, but it was more towards the beginning of my time playing. When the gear itemization in that game was weird at times, in my opinion. Sometimes they, like, I would just build my character out, and I would go for like 1 or 2 items from like the newest raid, maybe, or if it had a really good set bonus, I might like do the 4 set. But there were plenty of times where I'd run around and my captain would have higher morale, which was basically health, and power, which is, you know, power and mana. I would have higher, both of those, than people running around in like the best guilds on the server, or companies. I can't remember what it was called in that one. Kinships. There we go. Because they would just go and run and grab like the best gear, but like stat wise, I could build a better character by like picking and choosing items here and there. And I was always baffled that nobody else did that, because sometimes the newest set was just not the greatest build, which is fine. It doesn't have to be the greatest build, but everybody just goes to whatever the newest shiny thing is. Unless it came from a loot box, EA doesn't want you to care what the gear you're wearing. Yeah, EA and the good old loot boxes. I was better DPS than raid gear champ. Oh yeah, because we had a conversation with this not too long ago. The most of the champions in that game, which for anybody who doesn't know or never played Lotro, the champion was essentially like an AE dual wielding class, but they could also use two-handers. And they would all, a lot of champions, for some reason, and it didn't make any sense to me because I'd come from EverQuest and realized that two-handers generally are not better DPS if you can have two one-handers that are a similar ratio or whatever. But yeah, they would all run around with their two-handers because they would get giant crits. Yeah, it's kind of like an AE Berserker. But I guess Berserkers are area effect to a degree too. But they're probably a little bit more tanky if they were in the... oh my god, what's the stance besides Fervor? I can't remember that. But anyways... sorry, I started thinking in my head. The amount of people that would just run around with two-handers just for the big flashy crits and not realize that on the parser that the one-handers were like severely out DPSing them, like especially during like a sustained long fight. It was kind of... I never understood why people didn't understand that. But axes only could do two one-handers or two axes. Oops, I did not mean to click that. Oh my gosh, I cannot click. But they're so cool. Yeah, no, that you can get some cool looking two-handers for sure. Although honestly, the weapon design in Lotro was not like amazing. Like you didn't... I don't... Part of the reason I don't remember any of the names of weapons is because they eventually went with... I think I had one halberd like that was called like North Star or something like that. That was a raid one. But other than that, after when the first expansion came out, sorry, I almost said second. They went to legendary weapons, so it was just like Great Axe of the Third Age, or Great Axe of the First Age, or Third Age, or whatever rarity it was, which was kind of cool at first, but I had a feeling when it happened, I'm like, it's gonna not... Like, it was supposed to be like this weapon that like evolved with you, but the second a level change came out, your weapon didn't matter again. Shoot. I need to move these over here. Means I need to move this over here. But yeah, no, I don't... Because of that, like, the weapon designs were all very similar, and there wasn't, like, any unique name, so it wasn't, like, you know, like, it wasn't... I think it was supposed to feel like this big epic thing that grew along with you, but it didn't, because it was a throwaway when a level cap would go up. And it wasn't necessarily like this big epic quest type thing to get. So in the end, I don't know, it fell on a weird note for me. The two-hander lost at least one hit on almost all abilities for champions. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We did mention that. I geared myself up for DPS and crits. I was blowing two-hander DPS out of the water with one-handers. Yep. Yeah, I remember that for sure. Honestly, when I played WoW, when I played lock-in BGs, I would almost exclusively be dotting and CCing or picking with Chaos Bolts. People at my LO never CC'd right. But CC really wasn't taken into consideration on the scoreboards. And you would keep identifying them, hoping that the right sets. Yeah, that was another thing that was really annoying. You'd save up. You'd get the, you'd invest all this time to get the rune from the raid encounter that lets you craft the raid, like the first stage raid weapon, and then you'd get this whole big womp womp moment when you crafted it and it didn't have the perks that you needed. They eventually fixed that to some degree and let you like re-roll those. I think you needed like some sort of scroll, and then you could like decombine or deconstruct some and like take the perk off and like put it on the other one. But I don't know. It was different, but I think in the process it also lost meaning for the weapons, because your first stage weapon was, like most games now, you go to the next expansion and it's quite quickly replaced by like a third age version, which, like, for people that didn't know, the third age ones were like the common weak ones, and then the second age ones were from like high-end group content, if I remember correctly, and then the first stage were the raid ones. Okay, so we got that one. Nothing too bad. Okay, so this one you can't. This one is just that. This one. Oops. Do that. And I need to fix that. It's gonna drive me insane. Oops. Not what I wanted to do. Okay. So because this is extruded, I have to collapse these. This is one thing I would love if anybody on the team that develops Pro Builder would be to have a way of deleting edge roots. That would be amazing. So if anybody out there is listening who, actively works on maintaining this and developing this plugin, That would be my dream for it. Why do I have a loop running down this? Oh, shoot. That was not what I wanted to do. Hold on a second. It helps if I give myself some space so I don't do that again. Okay. Let's get this. Yeah, that would be great to be able to just delete these out as opposed to collapsing vertices back down on each other. I hate those MMO game systems where you invest so much time into them and then poof, no experience and system is worthless. Yeah, that is I've felt the same way for a while, where you invest so much time and then the new expansion comes out and you're just like, oh, really? All that work gone? And it was pointless. And I think, for me anyways, that's one of the things that I really, really miss about EverQuest, is when I get something, it felt, and granted, I know like more modern EverQuest might not necessarily keep to that, because I think the gear difference between group gear and raid gear is really not that large like it used to be. And I know some, group-based people might not like that. Raiders are so much more powerful than them, but there was part of me that always just liked the idea of, hey, I can get so much more powerful if I just have the time. And to top that off, your investment of time feels like it's actually like paying off. Clean this up a bit. I'm actually gonna have to get going. I just realized what time it was. Let me at least punch a hole in. So I'm gonna. This one is just going to be a larger building. I think it's gonna have like 2 rooms, but I think I'm gonna do the ability to go down to the floor. I don't know if I want this one to have a balcony too, or if I want this one to just be... Are these the same height? No, they're not. Oops. It helps if I grab faces. So I think I'm going to keep it with the idea that this street would... get a good camera angle. Would be tapered down if there was stuff there. This one will have 2 stories to it. These ones will be at street level. So this is at street level, essentially. It's just... this is like a basement. And I think I want one of these to hook up to another one. Like, there's going to be, kind of going off of Goblin's concept here, with like a doorway like almost all the way buried, where you could like have mobs that you can see but you can't get to it. The way to get to it would be like going into like this one and like going through another tunnel system and then coming up. So maybe like this one. Obviously I can't get to this one because it's in there. Oops. When I did some of the edits earlier, I did not adjust for them. There we go. So I think that's gonna be the plan. But I'm getting close to the end of the time that I wanted to stream. I need to start getting stuff ready for dinner. So let me hop back in to the game and show that off one more time. And for anybody who is new to the channel, hopefully you enjoyed hanging out. You know, I appreciate if you follow the channel. If not, and you want to keep up to date with what's going on, we have a mailing list that you can join to get updates when we put them out. We also have our website, monstersandmemories.com, that you can go to kind of find out some more about our game. You can also join our Discord. All the team members are in there. We have all sorts of discussions. Several of the people that are, actually probably everybody who's been talking in here, is also in there. And we have all sorts of different, you know, conversations, either specifically about the game or, you know, just about game design and MMOs and stuff in general. There's some fun conversations that go on in there. And then this is a list of all the other members of the team that are either currently streaming or are planning on streaming. So check them out. Everybody kind of does a little bit of you know, different content. Mine, as the stream would suggest, is the environment art. So, you know, this is kind of coming along pretty good. I'm liking how this feels. And again, you know, this stuff will eventually get pushed over, so that will line up nicely with that. We'll get those planks going across here. We'll get more, like, content spaces in these. I know I did a lot of sand dune work today. But there'll definitely be some more of that. And again, for anybody who hasn't seen it before, down here, yeah, I really like the planks, and I love this little like idea of just kind of like sand pouring down through there. I think that's gonna look really cool. Let me time set this so we have light beyond just my torch here. Time set 7 a.m. So for anybody who hasn't seen this before, you know, been kind of roughing out this area, which still needs some more roughing out. I think I need to also, I meant to mention this earlier, I think I'm gonna have some like pieces kind of sticking out here, or maybe like slanted from this floor, because right now it's just sand. Like, where did the chunks of floor go? So bringing those into that area a bit. And then down to get to that area that's been boarded off, you have to kind of come through this cave system, which I showed earlier, that you kind of will drop down. You'll kind of walk down here like getting into the hole, and then drop down, because this would eventually kill you if you dropped off normally. So this will be deeper if we decide to keep it. But you can't get back up, just like the hole. There's no way back up. Right now, you might be able to levitate across. Although levitation right now is a little broken. There's like no slow fall. It just kind of goes. So you won't be able to get back up. The only way to get back up will be to fight your way through the cave system. Over here. Again, these rooms are all subject to change. This might not even end up being in here. And then you fall through the roof, this caved-in roof, that leads you back. You know, this could potentially expand out, or this could just be a room with mob spawns in it. Leads you back into this area. And there's this area over here that looks kind of like it's been being worked on. It wasn't kind of completed, or is being worked on. It could be like a construction site themed camp, or not construction site, I guess construction area camp. And then this leads you back up to where you came in through the secret passage underneath the big storage spot. So, you know, there's kind of an area over here at the table. Could be, you know, a rare spawn spot. You know, I've been kind of playing around with this, playing around with areas that, you know, potentially could have spawns. Like, you know, there's barrels here. It could be like a brewer or a supplier or something like that. Then the hole through here to the more like a cultist theme area. So the cultist area here, with the sacrificial like altar. You know, come over to this area. It could be more like catacombs. So again, this is all just kind of playing around with shapes and playing around with ideas. It is not tied directly to the lore parts that are being reworked. So a lot of this could end up changing. A lot of this is just kind of exploratory and stuff at the moment. You know, this area is kind of like, this could be like a bath or something like that. You have water in here. So just kind of thinking about ways of kind of creating that old EQ, like recognizable camp spaces throughout the structure as we go along. This could be, you know, a tunnel that keeps going. But yeah, so that's kind of this whole area. And then, for anybody who wasn't here, when I went down there initially, you know, you'd walk down here. This right now, this big like step would not be there. There's a geo on the other side that's in a Blender file that I need to go and like move to fix that. So that this would be like a sheer cliff, and then this whole area needs to probably drop down, I don't know, a decent amount, so that would kill you and not do 2 damage. I didn't throw my character off here because I hadn't worked the way out yet, so I didn't want to just abandon my character down there. But that is kind of what I've been working on, is kind of under the city area, building towards that, under the more modern city area. So I'm building kind of from the, you know, the bedrock up, essentially. So kind of playing around with that, and, you know, trying to get the look and the feel of that, you know, classic EverQuest zone down, and seeing if it, you know, playing with the tools to make sure it works like we want it to. And then that will expand up into this area, which we cleared out recently. Oops, I adjusted the terrain slightly to level this out, and I've embedded a couple of our guards in the ground, so I need to fix that. But beyond that, you know, once that little area is done and I have the boards off, then we'll start to, you know, build up some of these taller, like tower type buildings that will allow us to see if we really like how we like the feel of this. And then if we're really liking the feel of it, you know, we can bring all those elements into the redesign as we're working on the layout. And Squid Pasta, thank you for the follow. Oh, and thank you for the compliment. That definitely he's hitting that EQ vibe. Thank you. Definitely, you know, been working a lot, going into old EQ zones with the old Lantern viewer, to kind of see how they did it. And again, I've been pushing stuff here and there as well. You know, this was very inspired by the whole, obviously, with the, you know, the drop down. Scale, again, needs to be fixed. But been doing a couple different takes on stuff within this cave system. So this, you know, this is a little bit more detail than like a cave in a classic zone would have, since it's kind of more hexagon shaped. So it's got, you know, 6 sides, sometimes a little more in a couple spots. And then this is more classic, where it's just kind of, you know, square extrusions. Except this has a little bit more playing around with elevation. Those zones didn't have it as much. This area is more purely like classic inspired, where it's just playing with width. But been playing around with a couple different things just to see. So we have a couple different variations of, like, you know, this is classic. This is a little bit more. This is classic, a little bit, you know, pushed vertically as well. Then you get over here, and you know, it's a little bit more rounded. And then as you get up over here, you know, I'm playing around with more, a couple more. I think there's like 8 sides on this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 8 for most of these. And then there's just a little bit more tweaking. So we have, you know, there's like 3 different areas essentially, with different feels. So we could kind of like, I like this, I don't like this, or maybe we like, you know, the mixture of them. It's just kind of giving us a palette to kind of choose from. So that's been what I've been up to. This is awesome stuff. I'm seeing my friends getting lost and having a blast. Yeah, no, definitely. That's kind of again what I was playing off of too. Is just that exploration. I love having games where I can like explore. And I left it. You know, I didn't get too crazy in terms of how big this is, but even with, you know, even being kind of sucked in with the way our water currently is, which granted we could, you know, expand this further if we needed. I still have a whole bunch of space that I could pull these out into more caverns, more, you know, zone lines to new places. There could be connection points with the sewers, which will these are, you know, all old placeholder stuff that will be all eventually touched on as well. You know, this whole area over here I left out where I could expand this kind of like, again, it looks kind of like a temple complex. I might break it up so it's a little bit more asymmetrical and not quite symmetrical as it is right now. But all this stuff can kind of, you know, be expanded upon if we decide we want to keep it. Even up here can be expanded upon. So I've been kind of do it with the idea of, if we really like it, it can be expanded for more exploration, more nooks and crannies, you know, more secrets and stuff like that. Obviously, I've showed you guys this one, but, you know, I've just kind of been playing around with different ways of making stuff so it's maybe not as easy just to run out. You have to kind of fight your way through stuff, so more dungeon crawly feeling. But yep, that's kind of where my headspace has been. It's striking a nice balance, I think. Thank you. Good job. You love it, Sakoj. I love games where I'm not told where to explore via dump of 100 quests, but I can just go down that hole that looks interesting, or off to that tower. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly. I love that too. I like all, you know, I got in when I wanted to get into EverQuest when it first came out. My parents wouldn't let me. And I didn't have a job at that time. So I jumped in towards the end of Lukeland, but I only had the classic zones, so I didn't have Nexus for a bit. Probably a month or two until we felt like we could hop into that. But you know, I liked having like general ideas that like, oh, this is a good place to go. This is a cool place to explore. But I still love just being there and just exploring. That's what I found the most fun about New World when I first started, was like, oh, this is like, the crafting was fun and felt good. But the exploration of not really knowing, I'd specifically not done really any research on it, because I just wanted a game that I could play casually and just explore. I mean, it was great for the first like 30 levels, and then it got really repetitive. But still, I'm very much into that. Like, I love to explore. Again, with the whole Bethesda games, I never finish them just because I get lost in all the different dungeons and stuff like that. So that's definitely something I personally would like to kind of bring into, you know, giving lots of areas to explore. Obviously, we have to do that within, you know, a certain amount of scope too, because, you know, we're a small team and we don't want to run into the problem that like Vanguard did, where Vanguard had, you know, tons and tons. It was gigantic in terms of space. But I remember running around and you'd hit certain areas and then it would just be like a content desert. Granted, I didn't play until it got sunset. I played more towards the first couple months, and then I came back a couple times for like a month here or there while I had an EverQuest account open, just to look around. But you know, you don't want to spread ourselves too thin where there's areas but there's no content. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Hints of interesting places, but you can go where you want. Yeah, and I think another part of what we want to play around with is the idea of giving hints of areas that you might be able to see, but maybe you can't access right away. So you kind of have that, ooh, how do I get there type of a mentality. Or maybe you can, but it's a really, you know, harder to get to way. You know, obviously I'm doing this on stream, so everybody already knows about this. But if you've never watched my streams and, you know, you don't look at wikis and stuff like that, and this does make it into the game, you know, I'm just imagining it. I like to put myself into the player, like into the mind space of a player who's never seen anything while I'm designing stuff. So, you know, if I'm walking around, I'm looking down here and I see like a mob walking around, or I see like glowing eyes or something like that. Like I can see there's stuff down there. I'm like, ooh, how do I get there? That looks cool. And, you know, it goes back to even old side-scroller video games. You see the little like coin or the level up, not the level up, but the life, you know, life up, power up or something, and you're like, ooh, how do I get there? But, you know, it's just kind of dangling off the edge of your screen. Kind of taking that into, you know, obviously a 3D space. So, you know, what's the chance that someone's going to come over here and, you know, click on this particular box to have it open? And it could be, you know, you can't click on that box. We have a whole you know, /look system. So it might be you can't even click on this until you /look and you see, and then it's like, ooh, you feel a strange breeze, and then you can click on it and it tells you it's locked, and you have to go find, you know, somebody that either drops a key or gives you a quest to a key to get you down here. You know, there's all sorts of, you know, lore and content tie-ins that type of stuff can relate back to. Once you know, all the lore for the city is like, you know, tuned up, that we can start, you know, making those types of cool little ideas. But I just wanted to play around. This whole thing was, you know, wanting to play around with Goblin's ideas, but then like seeing, you know, again, putting myself into that headspace. If I'm a new player, I see this, but how do I get there? This whole thing has just been that in my mind, that journey of, well, how do I get under here? So yep, that's kind of where I'm at and what my mindset is. I mean, one unfortunate point of online games is someone will find something and instantly guides of how. Yeah, that's just the day and age we live in. There's always going to be guides and stuff like that, and data miners and stuff. But again, you know, this particular stretch of area might not even make it to the final product. But that's also, you know, ideas and stuff. Sorry, I'm fighting a sneeze. You know, ideas that I'll be playing around with as we get to different areas, and maybe not every single area will have stuff like that, but there'll definitely be things like that thrown throughout the world. I like playing. That's how my mind likes to work. I like to. Oh, excuse me. Oh my god. I like to play. You know, I like to explore. And I like to hide things that, you know, can. I used to love running around, you know, old school 90s shooters that had invisible walls, or like you'd click on the wall and the wall would slide. Like I love that old stuff. It's something I miss from games nowadays. Just making enough content that is easy to explore, then to look up maybe. Yeah, I mean, that'll be the key, is to have the content, but at the same time having the content, you know, that's tuned well and is fun and makes sense and stuff like that. But yeah, so thanks everybody for joining me. I will blast out the why is that not popping up? There we go. Alright, there's the Discord. I don't know why the website one didn't work. Oh, there he goes. So the first link is the Discord. If you guys are not already on the Discord, I recommend jumping in there. The whole team is on there. You know, you can ask us questions. There's all sorts of fun conversations that go on related to game design or video games in general, or just other stuff as well. So join that. If you are interested in getting updates, but don't necessarily want to join Discord or don't have Discord, you know, feel free to join our mailing list. We don't spam you with stuff. We will be sending out a survey this weekend that is going to be asking about what your favorite or what is your most anticipated race and class combo, based off of, you know, just the stuff you know about the classes, from, you know, like EverQuest, because we haven't really done the whole class breakdown yet, and Goblin's concepts. And then we'll redo that one again once we have more stuff broken down, just to kind of see where the interest levels peak, and if any of the ideas that come out change that. And then anybody who enjoyed this stream, I highly recommend you guys check out the other team members that stream. Goblin and Nick and Zukin have been in chat today. So check out their channels. Sean's channel, the 11 Robot, Zukin, who does who's been doing a lot of the critter work, Goblin, who's in here, and you guys have been looking at his concept work. Does that as well. Nick is going to be starting to stream again soon, and I think he's going to be doing some playtesting stuff and some database stuff. And then Ali's also going to be doing some like maybe client. I think he's doing more like client side programming stuff. Obviously, the programmers don't get to do as much as they don't have as free reign as we do because of security issues and stuff like that. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Again, sorry for the later start. I usually start at 1 p.m. On Wednesdays. But we had a really good meeting going on, so I didn't want to jump out of it. And it was relevant to the stuff that I was doing, so I didn't want to leave that too early. And I also have a Monday night stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to keep it on Monday night at 8 p.m. for now. I may switch it to a Sunday night because I do work Mondays and have to get home and you know, help the kids if they need anything with homework and get dinner cooked and stuff like that. So depending on how much time I have, and I'm not like, if I have a little bit of time to rest before that, I'll do streams on Mondays. But we'll see as this semester is winding up if I change that or not. But other than that, thank you guys for hanging out with me. That was a really long-winded goodbye. But I'll let you guys get going, and I'll see you guys Monday. Later.